this is Ben Rogers, this is the Property Diary. Today is Tuesday 26th of March. Fairly manic and busy day today as usual. Office in the morning, just clearing up a few bits and pieces paperwork wise and admin wise. I've been up in London this afternoon. I sit on the board of one of the other businesses that I'm involved with, so we had an all afternoon board meeting, and this evening I've just been round to the property in Sittingbourne, the flat in the Grade 2 listed building that I'm buying from Wendy's, a friend of my sister's. But what I want to share with you is the thoughts and concerns that go through a seller's mind. Now, remember, Wendy is somebody that I've actually known since I was probably about 8-9 years old. She used to go to ballet dancing with my sister. Now, have I kept in touch with her? Have I got anything to do with her? No, my sister kept in touch with her. She's now sort of 40 odd years old, so there's 30 years of potential family history there. But that doesn't mean diddly squat. Let's put it this way, she wouldn't even give me the keys last night so that I could do some videoing during daylight hours, because there's that slight area of mistrust. Mistrust is not the right word, but it's skepticism. It's, why would you give the keys to a complete stranger to your property before you've done the paperwork? So here's how it went last night. I met up with Wendy and Tim, her husband, at the property. Lovely property, complete no-brainer for me. Old sort of Victorian Edwardian style property. Not sure exactly of its age, but big high ceilings. It's kind of a split level, 1-bedroom flat, lovely huge rooms. Absolute no-brainer for me. It's going to be a real simple one to find a tenant buyer for that property, even though it's a flat. And guys, to be honest, flats are a little bit harder than houses to find tenant buyers for, in my experience. Although I'm sure you can find a bunch of my students who say flats are dead easy, houses are hard. So don't take my word on that, it's just been my personal experience. But this flat is going to be a piece of piddle. It's going to be fantastic, dead easy to find me a buyer, stroke tenant buyer for the property. So, here's the concerns. The concerns are, Ben, what happens if you don't make the payment on my mortgage? Because let's face it, you've actually changed the correspondence address to your address. I'm not going to know. Very good question. Very, very sensible question to be asking. To be honest, we get asked that by a lot of people. So let's look at this. What you really want to know is that actually once Ben's taken over this property, you haven't got to worry about it. Now, I'm just going to talk to you about maybe some of the other people that we've worked with and some of the thoughts process that they've come up with. And one of the guys we work with said, look, to be honest, Ben, if you could just send me confirmation that you've made that payment every single month, that's going to give me give me the confidence that it's being done. Because here's the concern. The concern is, if Ben doesn't pay the mortgage, the first they're going to hear about it is somebody turning up on the door to repossess it. Now, you and I as investors know that's not going to be the case. It's a lot more drawn out process than that. But the concern is this: if we've changed the correspondence address to my office address rather than their home address, and this is already on, just to give you an example, this is on a buy-to-let mortgage with Santander, got consent to let, they've already got a separate correspondence address which is their address because they had it rented out. But now they're going to change that correspondence address to my correspondence address, and they're not going to see anything. So part of the discussion that we had, and I use this all as third-party offset, other people I've worked with, this is what they've come up with and asked me to do for them. This is what it made it work for them. And I'm just thinking, well, if it worked for them, maybe it would work for you as well. And the sorts of things that we've done is where we actually, on a monthly basis, whenever that payment goes through to the mortgage company, we diarise it, we have it systemised, and we send confirmation to them that the payment has been made. So from the seller's point of view, they know that it's been done. They've got a level of confidence. Now, here's what I personally have found over that period of time, is that actually you do that for 5-6 months, and after that they don't really care because they know you're doing it, and then you can have a chat with them. You probably end up stopping doing that, and that just makes your system slightly easier, slightly quicker. The other thing to point out is that because the correspondence address has changed, some of my clients don't give a flying fig. Once they've moved on from the property, never think about it, never talk to me, it's just done and dusted. Others are a lot more anally retentive and concerned. It may be their one and only property, so they want to know what's going on. So what we do with them, and again, third-party offset. You know what? They asked if what we could do is actually send copies of the correspondence to them, just so they knew that they got a copy of the annual mortgage statements and they could see the payments going through. So that's what we do. You know, we actually, every time we get any correspondence from the mortgage company, we send something off to them, and that works perfectly for them. And if it worked perfectly for them, it might be something that could work perfectly for you. So that's what we do. We use a third-party offset. We look at ways that we can actually make their life easier and get the information to them. Yeah, so the other thing that we discussed was what day of the month does the mortgage payment go out? Now, their mortgage payment goes out on the 1st of the month. Now, this is really, really handy because I said, look, to set your mind at rest, here's the thing to think about. We've agreed that I'm going to be sending confirmation over of this monthly payment to you. That payment's due on the 1st of the month, so you know that if by the 1st, 2nd of the month you haven't had any confirmation from me, it's maybe time to start thinking, oh, should I get in touch with Ben and just make sure everything's fine? But here's the way that the banks and the mortgage companies work. They work on a calendar monthly basis. So if the mortgage payment is due on the 1st, and let's think about the real concern and reasons why people are interested and worried about this. If the mortgage doesn't get paid, could they come and repossess it? Yes. More importantly, for lots of people, if the mortgage payment doesn't get made, is that a black mark against their credit rating? Yeah, absolutely. And I make that really obvious to them. So we had a good conversation about credit ratings and how I'm now kind of in charge of part of their credit rating. So let's say the mortgage payment is made on the 1st. The way the mortgage companies will work is this. If the payment doesn't turn up throughout that month and it goes into the following month, that's when the majority of mortgage companies will actually then mark it down as a black mark against the credit rating file. So let's look at the reality of this for Wendy or any of your clients out there. Mortgage payments made on the 1st of the month. They then are going to find out if I haven't sent them confirmation by 1st or 2nd. They've then got a whole month to work out where the hell I am. Have I been run over by a truck? Have I suddenly gone into complete lunatic mode and not paying any money? Have I done a runner out of the country to northern Cyprus with all their hundreds of pounds? The reality is this. They've then got a month to work out, right, where do they come up with a mortgage payment? And remember guys, we're talking about worst case scenario. And what you want to talk about is worst case scenario because that's exactly what the solicitor will bring up with them. And you want to give them an element of trust, faith, and belief this is going to work for them. And you do have to say at some stage, look guys, there is going to be an element of trust. Now I'm going to do whatever you want to actually prove that trust is there and there's a system that's going to work really well for you. And let's just go back over the reasons why you're doing this. Get back onto the thumb screws and the hurt and the reasons why they're selling their property to you on an option. But let's face it, if I'm going to work with you, there's going to be a level of trust with me, and there's also going to be a level of trust with you. Only time's going to show that and prove that, but let's put as many things in place that give you that trust and faith that this is going to happen. Now, the other thing we talked about yesterday was the solicitor side of things because they're very keen to use their own solicitor. This isn't a solicitor they've used very often, but for whatever reason they want to. So I've gone through the process of, look, what are the things a solicitor's going to come up with once they get the contract through? They're going to talk to you about, you do realise if this property goes up in value, you might lose out on your equity. You do realise this is an option, and actually, guess what? Ben has the option not to buy it as well as the option to buy it. So I've gone through that process and I've told them exactly the things that solicitor's going to come up with. This is incredibly important. In fact, I must do a separate video on this because it's such a key part of what we do. But they need to know what issues the solicitor will come up with them. And guess what? If Ben's told them that before the solicitor's told them that, do you think they've got a lot more faith in me and what we're doing? And do you think that when the solicitor comes up with those objections, they say, well, yeah, do you know what? Ben already mentioned that to me and we're very comfortable and happy with that. Which is exactly what they were when we sort of spoke to them. So they're absolutely fine with it. But they're keen to use their own solicitor. So I've explained to them, again, third-party offset, you never guess what. We had a couple who were buying a house from the other day and they're absolutely adamant they want to use their solicitor. The interesting thing was the solicitor had never ever heard of options, and when they started talking about it, it was like they were talking Swahili. Now, here's the thing. The two things normally happen with a solicitor. If they don't know about options or they haven't been doing options, the funny thing is they'll normally say, oh, I've never heard of that. That probably sounds a bit dodgy, not quite sure how that works. Or, to be honest, guess what? I'm going to learn about this, so guess what? It's going to cost you even more money. So the way I actually sort of frame this and put this to the clients is that, look, by all means, check them out. And what I might suggest is when you speak to the solicitors, ask them the question, have they ever done any residential options before? Find out whether the solicitor's got a commercial arm as well, because commercial arm is more likely to have done commercial options on land or commercial property. And if they have done that, then maybe it's worthwhile taking it forward with them. Now, if for whatever reason they haven't, I'll tell you what, I've got a whole bank of solicitors here that are local. Why don't I give you some of the names of the solicitors that are doing this on a regular basis? And guess what? You might find it's an easier process, a cheaper process, and actually works a lot better and quicker for everybody involved. Okay, so that's the logic that I use behind this. I set the precedent, I set their almost expectation that their solicitor may actually turn around and say, no, this option, no, I never heard of that, sounds dodgy, illegal. I set the thoughts in their head that they may say that, and I give them an alternative based on the fact that we've got a bunch of other solicitors over here, just do this as standard paperwork, really easy, turn it around nice and quickly. Could be something that would be ideal for you if your solicitor doesn't kind of get this. So there you go, it's set up, it's all set up and ready. So anyway, I just want to kind of feed back to you kind of real life experiences and conversations and situations with regards to when you're actually dealing with people, with the solicitors, with the objections that come up, with some of the financial bits, the trust, the faith, etc. Guys, I hope that's been really, really helpful. My name, of course, is Ben Rogers. This is the Property Diary. Today is Tuesday, the 26th of March. I really look forward to speaking to you tomorrow. Have a great week. I'll speak to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.